deputy chief. He said he wasn't really looking for a job when the mayor asked him to fill in after Chuck Lavelle decided to step down as chief. Lavelle is staying on in the bureau in a different job. Day will only serve until early 2025, which is when a new mayor will hire a new chief. Now, listen, if you saw this story on another newscast or maybe even another channel, I can guarantee you it was not like this. So stick around, will you? I can hear some of you saying now, well, okay, but why do I care? I don't live there. Yes, you do, because as the leader of the largest city police force in Oregon, Bob Day really could indeed have an impact on your life, especially if you hope to see Portland's downtown come back to what it was. So with that in mind, we're going to spend some time with him. Now think of this like kind of we're dropping by the office to ask what's on his mind. It really was a news conference, but so what? Who cares? This was for you. First off, let's hear about his top priority.
One is reducing crime and the fear of crime, but doing that through a couple different ways, through community engagement, obviously, but there's an enforcement component. So focusing on, reducing crime, and the crime numbers are always important, improving calls for service, things like that. But then also, how do we create a new experience for Portlanders around public safety? I've said before, we cannot not believe our experiences. They are what we bring and what we live through. So I want to create new experiences, new relationships, contacts with the Portland Police Bureau and with members of the community so we can have new experiences and understanding what public safety is. So reducing crime and the fear of crime through community engagement.
All right. Chief Day said he and his officers will be out talking to community members a lot to find out what they need to feel safe and what they want police to do to help out. Now, the unspoken part of all that is that if his approach works, the members of the community who have not trusted police in the past may start to see them differently. As part of that, he plans to share as much information as possible and more than we've seen before.
And enforcement efforts. Number two is transparency and accountability. Really, you're going to see a lot more of me personally. That may be a positive or a negative, but I intend to be to be very visible, to be very out and about and engaged, both with the organization, but also with the community, just being more accessible. I also have a desire to increase the amount of information that we're able to share, and I know there's some hindrances to that or not hindrances, but some obligations we have to investigations, to labor agreements, to other processes, so it's not like we can just share everything. But the days of just the police being able to stand in front of a microphone and say, trust us, trust the system, I think have long passed. There's plenty of studies to show out there the declining trust in law enforcement, not just in Portland, I'm talking nationwide. So I really want to work towards that community trust building by being as transparent, as accountable as possible. And then when I talk about accountability within the organization, once again, maintaining high levels of standards, expectations of performance, whether it be in routine interactions, or conversations with the community or conversations inside the organization, behaviors, use of force, all of those.
Okay, so far, Chief Day has said he wants to reduce crime in our city. Okay, that's good. He's the police chief. In part, he wants to do that by getting the community on the side of the police. He did not say that word for word, but that's my interpretation of it. He hopes to do that by sharing a lot more of the good, the bad, and the ugly that's bound to happen with any major city police force. And he wants to make the organization as a whole better and create more continuity for the community.
The reason that's important from a community standpoint, and I've seen this, experienced it many times, where we develop relationships with aspects of the community and then we move on, we retire, we transfer, and we don't have a good plan in place how to continue to carry that on while the community remains very steadfast in whatever that challenge, issue, or desire is. So I want to have some succession planning, both holistically for the organization as well as, in specific areas.
Now, the chief said he doesn't know when the mayor will tell him to start enforcing the daytime camping ban in Portland, but he did say when that moment comes, it's going to depend on how many officers he has available and what else police are dealing with at the moment. The homeless population is another community where he hopes to create a feeling of trust between them and the police.
The homeless population, the unhoused population, is unfortunate for so many. That's an understatement, but it's a community that obviously has a history of lack of trust and with the police, and there's a variety of reasons for that: enforcement, displacement, etc. And yet they also are a community that does have, we know from statistically have a high degree of crime and issues within the homeless community. I'm not suggesting, and please be very clear about this, that that the houseless community is responsible for all this crime. I don't have those numbers, but I do know that we see crime within that community itself, where we've seen assaults and attacks and so forth. And I want us to really try and find a way to develop connection with outreach workers, other programs, to be able to support us and give us the credibility to step in. And I think if we can do that and develop those relationships, we can find different pathways forward in partnership with both the outreach and with the community itself. The Police Bureau has a long history, and I was a part of this when I was here before as Central Precinct Commander, of developing relationships with people who are unhoused, developing credibility with them, and then getting them connected to appropriate services. I think that, because we are out there 24 hours a day, because we're on the ground level with them, there's increased chance to do that. But in order to do that, we got to have a more holistic approach. How many shelter beds do we have? What are the programs the county is initiating? Where can we, send people for addiction services? I want our officers to be prepared with all those resources, so when they step into those spaces with people that are unhoused, they have that to refer people to.
Okay, so the chief is hoping to win over lots of groups, including the homeless community. He thinks doing that is going to make everyone safer. Finally, let's hear his take on fentanyl and the drug crisis in our city.
Well, I like to say, there's not one single solution that can bear the weight of this problem, right? There just isn't. I had to go out, like I said, last week and spend some time with Central Precinct just to be aware of it, just to see it. This is a new phenomenon for me personally and as a police professional. I lost a family member to a fentanyl overdose a few years back, so it's personal in terms of its connectivity for us, for me. So, but it's definitely a priority. I mean, we're talking about, lives, human lives at stake here. And so we're doing everything we can. I really applaud the governor for her support of us and the state police and their involvement. The Central Precinct bike unit has just been doing some amazing intervention. I know that the county's working hard on, more opportunities for addiction services. And this is what I mean by kind of this more hopeful, opportunistic approach. Like right now, I see so many people leaning in, wanting to say, hey, how do we get our arms around this? And there's a lot of competing ideas and views about what that looks like. But as long as people are interested and engaged, I'm all for it. And I don't think it has to be just a PPP issue. I think it can be really a regional issue.
So there you have it. New Portland Police Chief Bob Day and his vision for the next year and a half. Now, that was roughly 8 minutes where I feel like you and I sort of got a one-on-one with him. Let's hope his optimism for the future becomes reality. One of the other things on his plate is the police body cam program. That pilot just finished up last week, and we're getting reaction from the police union president on how the pilot phase went and what it means for the future. Look for that segment tomorrow night, right here on The Story. In the meantime, what do you think of the Chief Day's plans and his outlook? Drop us a line, will you? You can email us. The address is thestory@kgw.com, or call and leave a voicemail. Our phone number is 503-226-5090. I look forward to hearing from you.